Welcome back, everybody. If you skipped the last video because you already know a bunch of SQL stuff and didn't need an intro, you might be looking at this screen and saying, what is this query? That's a good point. We don't need that there. So let's play cleanup. We don't need that one. We don't. That was really the only query we used, that one window. Alright, and we did put a bunch of things down the bottom because if you're in the last cell, sometimes things can get funky and it might re-scroll around. So just put a bunch of cells at the bottom and you'll be okay. Alright, what I want to do with this one is Nick's been begging me to plot something. So I figured let's plot something.
Let's plot something.
Let's plot something. Let's look at when is the biggest period of time of day that people start playing our game. Does that sound fun?
Yes.
Alright, so let's look at the code that we've got. We have this event timestamp, which is the event that the time of the event actually happening. There is another column back here called arrival timestamp. Now, if we were to look at the two of these, let's just look at arrival timestamp, and we'll select that. We will have lots of the same value in there. It's because arrival timestamp is when the data reached AWS Mobile Analytics, and it will group collections of data to send off in one single hit instead of sending an event every single time something happens. Whereas event timestamp is what time did the event actually happen on the user's device. So you'll notice that these are all mostly different, except for a few that are the same. They should mostly be different. But they're in this weird little date format here, which is not quite human readable. So they're in what's known as Unix time or epoch time. Nick, do you know what that is?
Yes.
Do you want to give a quick description to it?
Yeah, it counts up from, I think it was like the 1st of January 1970.
Yes.
And just increments one integer every second.
Every second, correct. Yep. So that means we should be able to take one of these things here and put it into a time conversion tool, and it should tell us what the time was back at that time. So we can do that because Spark has this lovely thing called from Unix time. And we pass in the event timestamp, and we say, I would like that to be in the format of what format you would like it to be. So you could pass in year, month, day, hour, minute, and run this. Or you don't even need this part because it's going to default to a particular type anyway. But you can say, you know what, I only want the year value out of that, so I'll pass in the year, and it'll only give you the year. So we're going to do it this way, which is just say, you know what, give it to me raw. What do you think it is? And it says, whoa, hang on, we're in the year 49,000?
That sounds about right.
Oh yeah, future hopping. But Spark, not Spark, AWS Mobile Analytics does it by capturing with milliseconds instead of seconds. So Nick was saying that it is every second is one count to the int. But AWS says, yeah, we're going to make it really granular and put a whole bunch of extra zeros on the end. And you go, oh, thanks. So if you take your event timestamp and you divide it by 100, you will come to the correct time of when something happened.
Cool.
All right, so let's get rid of the event timestamp just so we can see the two. I put the second one in there so we can see it side by side. Let's get rid of it, and we'll now call this as event time. To get rid of that really lovely ass name that it had up there. So now we've got this. But we now want to say, let's say what hour of day is the best time for people to do things. Now we could look at hour or we could look at minute, because minutes, how much, let's do hour. So now that we have this thing here as a date time, it's returning back a date time. We can now say, return me the hour of that date time. I'm trying to put brackets, just not letting me. There we go. So we're going to take our timestamp, divide it by 1,000, cast it. We'll say cast it to a date, interpret its date time.
Interesting.
And then we'll say select me the hour part of that. So I am going to copy and paste the full from Unix time thing and put it next to itself as well. Function was the word I was going there, not thing. So now when we run this, we can see that the output of the time is 135, 135. Over here we have 11111.
So,
yep.
If, let's say we sent over a date time from C# Unity to Mobile Analytics, to S3, to DataBricks, and we read it, and we just said hour on that date time, what would happen? Would it read it correctly?
Well, it's going to pass. if you're adding something to AWS Mobile Analytics, whenever we're adding something in here, we're sending an attribute or a metric.
It needs to be a string, yeah.
It needs to be a string.
So you save it as universal time.
Yep. Well, it depends. You could send it in as, you could specify the style that you would like to send it out in, and then just remember what that style was, and then in Spark interpret it as that. So there's another function where you can take something that is a string of 2017 0915, whoops, and then say to date time. I'm putting the wrong syntax in for this, but you can specify year, month, day, and say, take that string and interpret it to a date time through this.
Ooh.
Just like you can do in C#. You can say, hey, this is the string, convert it to a date time, please. But we're in Spark, so we're going to do it the way that Spark's doing with it, because this is the way it's already got it. It's already got a time in there for us. Whoa, what just happened? Something happened. So I can now format this a little bit nicer. And we'll say you are the event time, and as event time hour and event time minute. Great, so 135 and
ooh.
Whoa, click the box, then we can scroll. Alright, cool.
Okay, so they're all... Oh, okay, cool.
Lots of stuff happening in 135 there.
No.
Alright, so if we take this, this is a cool thing about it. We're currently in the result set looking at a raw table. We can come across here over to the far right hand side and say, ooh, I want this data as a CSV file. Yes, please. Or we could come to the plot options here and say, I would like to plot it. Now, by default, it'll give you a bar chart, or you could come and drop down and say, I'd like a different type of chart. I'm going to pick a bar chart. And then I'm going to say, hey, there's nothing there, because I haven't told it how to plot things correctly. So I'm going to go to plot options, and it's going to say, how do you want these things to look? And it'll give you an updated view of what it looks like over here on the right hand side. We've got the times that things are happening. So maybe I wanted to look at how many events we've had per hour of day. So I can drag that into keys, and then I need to have a value in here. Now this is where I put a count of something. So I should probably bring in our count column. Count. No, wait, what did we call that? It was a metric. It was a metric that we had. Select star from, you're supposed to be SQL. Select star from, no. Where is the metric? Here we go. So it's metrics.count. Cool. That was that just every event we were sending had count against it. So we will now take metrics.count. Run that. So this is not the count function.
Whoa.
There we go. So now it's plotting it out for us. But look at the way it's doing it. It's doing it by hour and minute. It's trying to do something with what we've got against it, but it's kind of making it up and it's doing it wrong. If we look at this, it's gone minute and hour. They can be our two columns. And you go, great, the count is there. And it's summing them up for us. But it's weird. So we'll get rid of minute. And it goes, there's your hour of day that you're doing things with.
That's pretty cool.
Is that what you expected?
It is.
It is.
It is pretty cool.
Oh, we have done something cool for Nick.
We did it. What about different charts? What about a pie chart? That's my favorite chart. What about area? Ooh, fancy. It's also cool.
Line charts are my favorite.
Why is that?
They're just easy to see. I can quite quickly spot what's going on. If you have a bar chart, you got this lovely width thing trying to compete for attention. Yeah. Anyway, so I'm going to go to...
Pie chart.
Let's go pie chart. So we can see that most of the time that we've been doing anything, it's been at...
57%.
57% of all of our events have happened in the first hour of the day. Now this is 24-hour time, but this is also in... what time zone is...
Probably US West.
US West. Yeah, let's figure that out. Let's go to the S3 console and to services, to mobile analytics. Well, hang on. S3 already have it. The AWS Mobile Analytics is in US East, North Virginia.
Okay.
So, boom. What's the time in North Virginia? I was hoping it would give me like a UTC plus minus something.
Usually they say that. EDT.
EDT. So EDT, but I still want the UTC. Here we go. So they are
-5.
-5, whereas we're plus 10.
Yeah.
So we'd have to take the -5 of the hour and plus 10 and then plus on that extra 5. 15-hour delay?
Guess?
Yeah. Let's run that and see what we get. What's it whinging about?
You did it after the as.
I did it after the as. Great, now we'll go to... So it's got the minute in there again, which is not quite handy, so we'll get rid of the minute. And if we're doing that, SQL is very syntax crazy. You must get rid of the extra comma at the end to say that I'm no longer there. But in this case, there is still a metrics on the end, so ignore what I was saying. We also don't need the event timestamp anymore. All right, so yeah, that sounds about right. 4, 5,
Yeah.
and 9.
What?
When did we hit 9 p.m?
I don't think we did.
Neither do I.
Anyway,
rightio. So I'm on video trying to do a very simple mathematical question. Let's do a time conversion, and I'm getting it wrong.
that's why I thought I'd let you do it. I was like,
Thanks, Nick. Hanging me out to dry. He's still angry at me for getting his name wrong.
Yeah.
All right. He's not even going to try and deny it. All right. So let's pretend that was all funky hunky dory and working, and we'll leave that one as it finished. I wanted to show this one to show that you could do time conversions, which we will have to do pretty soon. And yeah, some plot options that you can do. So you can add in more metrics to go in here. So let's do something else. Let's do... Why am I doing this? I could just go to star. And as we've plotted it out, it's gone, I have no idea what you want. So let's take the plot option and we'll set that back to just the raw table, please. And that'll get us back to where we were. All right, we want to look at the event type, which was, event type. And metrics.count. There we go. So every time we've caused an event, we should also have a count on the end to say that this should always be 1, except for session start, which is null because that's the pre-generated one. That's the pre-generated AWS. The session has started. The app has been opened.
Right.
So yes, we're not going to have anything in those. Let's go back to, you know what? We might want to filter those things out. So we'll have to say where metrics.count is... Now this is interesting. You would think you could say is not equal to null. However, that doesn't quite work.
What? Why not?
So what is a null value in C#? What is 5 plus null?
Null reference exception?
Exactly. However, in
Java,
in other languages, in this case SQL, it's SQL, so it's going to treat it as SQL,
yeah, but
it's converted to Java. It
Oh,
still
right,
treats it as the
okay.
way SQL does. So SQL says null is actually not a value. If you say 5 plus null inside of SQL, you won't get, you'll get null. At least in other SQL. I've never tried to do this inside of
do you know what happens
Spark,
if you add
so I hope
null
this
to
actually
a
gives me
string in
null.
Java?
Yes, it gives me null! What?
Do you know what happens if you add null to a string in Java?
You get the same string?
No, it adds the word null to that string.
Oh, it actually casts null to a string and puts null on there, right.
That's pretty dumb.
Anyway, so if you're doing interviews with someone and you want to test their language skills, a really fun question is to ask them in whatever language, what is 5 plus null? It's really fun.
If you're an interviewer, don't do that.
I usually leave that one to the very end as a bit of fun. I don't, yeah, it doesn't sway if I was going to employ them or not. Anyway, all right, so 5 plus null in SQL is null because 5 plus I don't know is equal to I don't know.
Fair enough.
So null is not a non-existent thing
Yep.
in SQL. It's an I don't actually know what that means.
Yeah.
So you can't do not equal to null. You have to do a special check for it. Is not null.
It's not null.
Is not null. And now go, hooray! Now it's got all these things in there. So the same thing if you want to pick the ones where it is null, you have to say where is null, where is unknown. But this is another fun part here. If we wanted to include these session start and session stops into the chart that we're about to do, we would need to actually make sure we bring across those null values. So we can do that by saying coalesce.
What?
So we say coalesce metrics.count. Return metrics.count if it exists. If it doesn't exist, return something else. In this case, let's return 500.
Oh, no way.
As, and we can call this one, now we have to alias it out again, count. And then we can get rid of this is null.
No.
In fact, let's do that. Let's bring this into it. So whenever I do a query like this, I put in something else to say I want to see what it was and I want to see what it converts to, just as a test. So if we run this, we should expect to see count of null, and then, oh my goodness, I've coalesced it to a value of 500. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's cool.
It's very, very handy, absolutely. So now we can say, you know what? If it's we know that metrics.count is always going to be 1 because it's just that generic thing that we were talking about.
So this is like data cleaner.
Yes, absolutely. So now we don't need this where metrics count is null anymore. We can just say always return it. If you've got a value for it, great, give me that value. If you don't have a value for it, return it as 1. Which means we can get rid of this. So now we can find our session starts in there somewhere surely. I'm not going to look, we'll find it. Anyway, let's plot this. Bar chart, assemble! So what this just said is, I've got 2 columns. I've got an event
more
type.
level starts than wait, no. Where's session start?
Session start.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So it's weird. It's only got a little bit of space, so you can scroll this right out and it'll go, oh, I'll try and fit it in there for you. Yeah, come on. Don't leave me hanging here. Give me it. Yes, there it is. But there's some crossover. All right. What was I going for there? Yeah, cool. So now we can see that we've got the counts of each type of event that we've seen. So level complete should be pretty little because we've only completed it once. Now we're still working off that cache data from earlier, so we didn't reload from the source everything. Player spotted has been spotted 7 times. We saw that lined up with what we saw earlier. So yeah, this is working. We've had 37 session starts and 37 session stops.
Cool.
So it's all making sense. But these are in the wrong order. So there's another thing that we should bring in here. Order by. Now, when you order by something, the order by happens after the select has happened. So all the selecting, all the group by, all the aggregates happened, and then the ordering happens. It's the very last thing.
It's a very strange language.
It is weird, but when you get around it, you become really good friends with it, and you understand its quirks.
Where goes before? Wait, no.
Where goes after from?
Yeah.
Before the group by.
Yeah. And then after that's order by.
Yep. So the syntax would always be select what from table.
It's like
where filter group by groupings, order by
orderings,
aliases.
Ooh.
Order by alias. So look at this. If I'm going to comment this part out, and I'll say order by, or if I was going to group these together, I'd have to group it on this. So you'll think you put that there, and it'll yell at you and say, "Oh no, it still works with that. Damn it." They're not quite ordered. See, they're ordered all awkwardly and weirdly.
Yeah,
I don't have an answer. I was expecting an error at that point.
You should order by count.
Yes, but if you order by count, then it'll go, I'll put these into order for you.
Capital C count.
Count.
Capital C count. What the?
Did I just do that wrong again? I did. Try that again.
What?
Hey,
Can you run it again real quick? Run it again. Why is it moving it?
There's moving because it's saying which way am I picking the data at first, who's giving me it back first. But I expected these guys to come into an order. Yes, descending. No, this is really embarrassing.
What the heck?
2.
What?
Interesting. It doesn't want to go for the ordering. Maybe I've got that. No, I don't have it in there. Every other time I've done it, it's gone ahead and done it in an ordering style, and it says, I will order by the way that you would like me to order it for you.
What does the table look like then?
The raw table?
It's not grouped.
That's a good point. We haven't done the group by. Thank you, Nick.
Yeah.
Group by. So what's happening here? On the plot, we've just said, session stop 1, session start 1. We're just plotting all of these things here. So it's actually ordering by count of 1. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. And then it's saying, well, that's weird. As the chart, I'm going to group them together for you and put the event type, and I will take all those counts and I will sum them up for you as a sum. So Nick's just pointed out something very important there, which we'll get rid of that, and we'll put in a group by, and we'll group by event type, and we'll run this now, and it's going to whinge at me because I forgot to do an aggregate function, so I should wrap this entire thing in a count, and I'll space that out just so we can see it. So now that we've made everything a 1, I can get a count of my 1s. There we go. And now we should be able to put an order by count. Yay!
Yes.
That's what I was going for. And we can put descending to descendant, and it'll go the other way.
Cool.
Cool.
It's very cool.
It is very fun indeed. But the important thing here is the order by is actually ordering through the alias.
Yeah,
so
why
order
is
by
that? But
alias.
you can't group by alias.
You can't group by alias. No, if you wanted to group by the function here, we would have to group by the whole function.
But is that because group by executes before select?
So group by execute as part of the select. Group by is part of the select because it's an aggregate function.
Oh, okay. Right, makes sense.
So all of this happens, and then it goes, I've got this result set, what do you want me to do with it? You'd like me to return it in an ordered fashion. So without order by, you can never be exactly certain of what order your results are going to come back with. We saw it changing a few times as we were querying it. Alright, cool. So I think that is actually enough for this video, which was just going to be a quick little one about plotting, and it looks like we've gone a bit over a quick little bit.
Sounds good. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Alright, thank you very much, everybody.
Alright, see ya.